I'm Passon123 and this is my review of the iPhone 5. Now, for those of you that do not know, the iPhone 5 is Apple's 6th generation of iPhone, and it is the successor of the iPhone 4S. The iPhone 5 runs on iOS 6, which is Apple's latest operating system. Now, a few things that you may not know about iOS 6 is the native YouTube app has disappeared. You now have to download your own app from the App Store, which is made by Google, and that's the official YouTube app, as you can see there. They have also removed the normal Maps app, which has been replaced with Apple's Maps now and is no longer Google Maps. Many people have had problems with this app. Personally, I have not found a single problem with it, as it's just been quick, responsive, and actually works. And from what I've noticed is that Google Maps doesn't actually have some of the locations that is on the new Apple Maps. So for me, that's just one bonus. And with the new Maps app, you get 3D. I'll show you the city of Melbourne. I'll zoom in a bit more. And I'll hit the 3D. As you can see, it's a 3D view of the Melbourne city. Now, of course, the faster your internet or your 3G or 4G, the faster the Maps app will load the maps. But that is a quick show of the new 3D in Maps. Okay. Now, a few things about the iPhone itself. It's now a lot quicker as it's running on the new A6 processor by Apple. This is only a dual core, as some people would have already thought it's a quad core or just another slow thing that Apple's thrown in there. This time they've actually kept the dual core, but it's a hell of a lot faster. It actually beats the Galaxy S3's quad core processor in benchmarks. So also adding to the speed is the 1 gig of RAM. So it's an extra half a gig of RAM from the iPhone 4S, which is a pretty big leap when it comes to doing multitasking stuff and everything else. If you haven't noticed already, the screen itself is larger. They've increased it by an extra half an inch, adding room for another row of icons, and now making the aspect ratio 16:9, which is more of a commonly accepted screen ratio. The iPhone itself is now, I think, about 20% thinner and 18% lighter or something like that. The iPhone 5 has been shrunk down in how thick it is. It is about 20% slimmer from what Apple have said, and this is because of a new technology they've used in the screen called Incel. What it does is it takes away a separation layer pretty much between the glass and the screen itself, making the screen part of the glass and combining it into one piece of technology, which has made it slimmer and makes the screen seem like it's closer to you. It's lighter. I can't remember the exact details there, but that's also because of smaller parts and everything they use inside it. The iPhone 5 now has a new dock connector, which they call the Lightning dock. They've replaced the 30-pin dock connector. So if you want to use your older accessories, like your old docking stations with the iPhone 5, you will need to buy the Lightning to 30-pin converter, which is just a small adapter. From Apple, it costs about $35, and it might seem a little bit expensive, but believe me, it's worth it. Okay. I'm not on 4G at the moment, I'm on Wi-Fi, but I can't get 4G in the area I'm in. If I go to another area of town, I'll be able to get my 4G, which is dead quick. I can show you my speeds from 4G from Speed Test, the app. It's in results. Okay, that there is one of my 4G tests. So that's about 3.2 megabytes a second and a 2.5 megabyte a second upload with a fairly decent ping. At one stage I got 4 megabytes a second download and 1.8 megabytes a second upload, which is quick. From previous results when I had my iPhone 4 and I just restored straight over from this, on 3G I was able to get about 550 kilobytes a second with about a 200 kilobytes a second upload, which obviously shows the speed of 4G. Wi-Fi, of course, they have not changed the speed. You can't really do that unless you've got a faster router, but you're always averaging about whatever your router can do, and depending on your internet connection speed as well. Okay, the camera on the iPhone has been vastly improved. Well, considering they use the same sensor and pretty much the same technology that was in the iPhone 4S, it's been vastly improved. The color saturation in photos is far better. I can show you a bit on the screen now, but I'll put the pictures onto the end of the video so you can have a look. That's one photo I've taken on my iPhone, and as you can see there, that detail is absolutely amazing. The front camera has now been improved as well. It now does 720p instead of just boring VGA, and it's made so you can have your HD FaceTime calls and everything between iPhones, iPads, iPods, and your Macintosh laptops. Now, a few things that people may know already about the iPhone 5 is the poor battery life, and believe me, if you don't know what you're doing, the iPhone's battery life is worse than that of the 4S. A few tips I can give you at the moment to reduce your poor battery life is, in Siri, there is a feature called Raise to Speak. Make sure that that is turned off, as I've noticed. If that's enabled and you're walking around the shops or something using your phone, your battery will probably be dying about 1% every 35 seconds, which is not good at all. Make sure that if you're not using your Wi-Fi or your Bluetooth or anything, make sure they are switched off, as they can save quite a lot of battery life. I'm using my Wi-Fi at the moment, so battery, I'll have to put up with it. Make sure that your screen brightness, from brightness and wallpaper, is down at or below halfway, and automatic brightness can be off. I'd rather it be on because my light conditions are always changing. So, but if you're staying in a constant light where it's bright or dark or something, make sure auto brightness is off and you just change your brightness accordingly. I like it to be on. And make sure that all your apps from your app switcher down below, by double tapping your home button and bringing up the drawer, and make sure you disable your apps. You can save more battery that way as well. The more apps you have running in the background, the faster your iPhone battery will die as well. Okay, I'm going to give you a quick look at the overall system and how things have been stretched out to match the larger screen. Apps like weather, etc. You've now got your hourly breakdown in a little scroll bar instead of a little pull down menu where you had to pull it down to find out what your hourly breakdown was. Most apps like clock have just been stretched out and they've added a bit of a black bar at the top, which makes it look a little bit ugly, but I can't really complain because the apps were never a problem to begin with. The calculator has been stretched out a bit. As you can see, the buttons here are a bit more square. If you're an owner of a 4 or 4S or even a first gen iPod Touch, you'll already tell that the calculator looks just a little bit funny from what it used to be, but it's the calculator and it still works, so it's not a big problem. A few other changes to iOS 6 itself is in the phone. The keypad has been changed just a little bit, not an awful lot, but it's a slightly more fresh look to what it used to be. Music has changed as well. They've made it a little bit more grey, so it's a bit more modern Apple, I guess. all your songs and everything, it's all still set out the same, it just looks different. You're Now Playing has got the little metal kind of Mac balls pretty much. If I move my phone around, you notice how the actual reflection changes around, and that's there to make it look a little bit more natural, even though you never really notice it. It's a pretty cool thing. Now, Apple have changed the look of the App Store and the iTunes Store. I'll show you just the App Store for now. Updates looks the same. Main charts has been changed into a list more like this. So from here, you can just scroll through your top 100 or whatever that way. Or you can go See All, which takes you to a full screen of just your free apps, where you can scroll through them like that. And there's no more load next 25 after each and every 25 block of apps. You just keep on scrolling through, and they keep on loading until you get to 100. Well, when you get to 100, on the iPad, I've noticed that it doesn't continue on. It says show more, and you have to load it up and it will show you more. But on the iPhone, the list will just keep on going and it does not stop until you get up to 300. There you go. So you can browse 300 apps at a time on the iPhone before it requires you to go back or search for an app, do something else. The featured has changed just a little bit as well. I've got to hold this in place. You've got scrolling bars just about everywhere, including here, including here. Everything is side scrolling. As you can see, they've cut everything off, so it just tells you scroll to have a look. In apps that aren't yet iPhone 5 ready, you will notice that where's an app? An app that's not ready. For example, the eBay app. It actually goes back down to iPhone 4 and like original iPhone sizes. So it just puts black bars at the top and bottom and leaves you to do the rest as you normally would anyway. But as you notice, when I quit the app, a few apps that support it. Facebook has now been created to support the iPhone 5's bigger screen, which is handy. Your main apps: Facebook, Google Chrome. I've noticed consumers being made to fit. Most of the other apps, most of your standard apps don't actually work properly yet. Some apps still need to be fixed up just to work with iOS 6. Some people are noticing bugs on apps, so they recommend not to use the apps until iOS 6. CamWow has had a problem with iOS 6 where it doesn't actually take a photo but gives you a blank photo, and it does get annoying for some people. Well, that's the iPhone 5. If you want to see photos, keep waiting for the video. There'll be a few just after this, and I hope you enjoyed. Please rate, subscribe. I know it hasn't been the best video, but I'd hope to get some good comments. If you have any questions about the iPhone as well, I'm here to help. After all, I do own one now. And I'll give the iPhone 5 an 8.5 out of 10. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys later.